Thank
late
you, Scott.
afternoon.
This is a wonderful event. I'm really inspired with Dr. Anita and Melissa just sharing. So I'm so excited to be here alongside Colt Briner, a purpose-driven business coach and an author of his new upcoming book called The Race to Relevance. So today we're going to be exploring delving into leading with purpose. So Colt, I'm really, really curious about what inspired you to write this book.
Oh, sure. First of all, thank you for the question, and I'm very excited to be in this conversation with you in particular because of your work. What inspired the book? Two things, really. First, for most or many employees today, probably not the folks in this room necessarily, but for most employees today, the legacy promises of work and career and business have really shifted a lot in the last generation. Where working used to be a clear path to financial security, stability, used to be a path to owning a home, the American dream, a comfortable retirement, those things have really eroded substantially over the last generation. And now we see a lot of apathy from employees. We see disengagement. We see quiet quitting. We see a difficulty in finding talent. So the first part of the book, we really dive into that. We explore that trend and then look at what other dimensions of fulfillment can employers be offering to employees. Second inspiration was really witnessing the power of putting purpose at the center of a company in order to really achieve remarkable results on basically every measurable performance area for a business. So I had the opportunity, actually my last role as Chief Communications Officer for a BPO company, to see, like, front row, how did purpose affect that business? They took that business they 10x'd their valuation in 2 years to $2 billion. They captured 60% market share, and purpose played a critical role in that. So the book is really what I learned in that process and the how-to for how to get that done.
Wow,
Now,
that's impressive.
Thank you. But you are also offering great guidance for leaders, how to turn their companies into magnets for talent. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, so thank you, Colt. So I'm seeing repeating themes and pain points in businesses when it comes to attracting, retaining, and engaging talent. It's like it's huge. But what I'm seeing is people's needs have changed since COVID. So I'm seeing themes of people really making decisions of if they're connecting with the leaders within the workplace and really connecting to the cultures that we're creating.
Yeah.
So when we're deciding to stay with a company or when we're deciding to take a new role with a company, these things are becoming really key. So by leveraging our leadership brand, when we think about it, we're really front-facing of really delivering the message internally and externally.
Absolutely,
yeah. So I really, really appreciate the fact that we have a similar crossover. But I'm really interested, you mentioned purpose-driven. What does it really mean to be purpose-driven?
A purpose-driven company is a company that first and foremost is defined by the impact they seek to create in the world, rather than being defined by, let's say, a specific product or a specific service. It's the things that aren't going to happen if the company isn't there to make it happen. It can be confused with a slogan. It's not that. It can be confused with ESG. It's not that either, and it's not what you sell. So that's kind of like the main focus for that. It has a lot of benefits. As a matter of fact, many of the benefits from being a purpose-driven company overlap with the benefits of leadership branding. Maybe if you explain those, we'll probably be talking about the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm glad that you mentioned that, Colt. So, I think I can give an example of I'm seeing high turnover in companies. For one, it was 68%. Cost them $6 million in a look back of just 1 year.
Yeah.
Of a cost to their bottom line.
Yeah.
And, it was interesting because the root cause really led back to the leaders had really unintentionally created these problems, and not because 90% of them didn't even have the tools, training, development, or coaching opportunities to know what a great leader looks like. Sure. Or how to show up as a good leader. So, that's a true story. And the wonderful thing was that we were able to deploy development programs and coaching along the way. And we were able to make a huge impact. In less than 6 months, we were able to increase operational metrics by over 25%.
Wow.
Yeah, and then also we were able to lower that turnover to 30% in less than 6 months. So that was pretty cool.
You cut it in half, the turnover.
In half, yeah.
How big is that company?
That business was $400 million.
Well.
Yeah, so that was a really big number.
You can reach Helena after the show.
Thank you so much,
Sure,
Colt.
yeah.
You're so sweet. So when we talk about purpose-driven, what do you see are the advantages?
Purpose-driven companies attract great talent. They retain them and engage them more meaningfully. They attract customers and retain them longer. They have a greater defense against disruption. They're innovating more powerfully than their competitors are. And if you look across, let's say, Deloitte, McKinsey, Harvard Business Review, the results are very clear. Total shareholder return for purpose-driven companies is higher. I mean, just like everything you would want to look at. But it's a double-edged sword. Very much like with diversity and inclusion, if you talk about it but you don't act on it, it will cut against you, right? So if you allow purpose to devolve into platitude, it will work against you. You'll lose customers, you'll lose great talent, everything just all goes backwards. And it can take a long time to recover from the kind of reputational damage that will occur by being bold about your purpose, but not actually following through. So you want to watch out for that. I'd be curious to hear from you, because we really want to have that sense of if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. What are some of the ways that that leadership branding can be gauged? How do I get a sense of it in my own organization?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So kind of a rule of thumb, if you have less than 10% turnover, you're doing pretty good.
Sure.
You're doing pretty good. And then your NPS scores, if you can have maybe a baseline of 9.
Yeah.
But if you're in the middle section there, you really want to uncover why. What are the exact challenges and hone in?
Sure.
And then from an external perspective, how are you doing on Glassdoor? How are you doing on Indeed? Because people today are doing their research when they're going to be wanting to maybe come to your company. So it's really important to look at both the internal and external as far as those particular metrics and guides.
I get it.
Yeah. So, Colt, one of the things that I wanted to ask you, how do you gauge your purpose-driven methodology? Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a lot of layers to it, a lot of dimensions to it, but you want to look at, do your employees know and understand your purpose? So are they very clear on how their role ties up and the dots that get connected to that purpose manifesting in the world? How are you incentivizing your people, right? What are you measuring when you incentivize? What's at the top of your leadership agendas when you people are meeting? All these things can help you determine whether or not you're actually truly purpose-driven, whether you've operationalized purpose. Maybe what we can offer the audience here are some next steps for them to be taking.
Yeah, so love to go over to our last slide, Scott. I think we have 9 seconds.
I'm on the way.
Oh, no, Colt's doing it. Okay, so, we as modern leaders, we're front-facing, in the organizations. And, the traditional metrics have gone far beyond that. So we challenge you to evaluate not only yourself, but also your company's purpose. And Colt and I have put together separate self-assessments over there. So we challenge you to rank yourself and see how you're doing in that department. The second takeaway that we feel is a good strategy is when you're having your next leadership meeting, ask each member to bring a photo or an image to that meeting of what they think actually is aligning with your company purpose.
You'll learn a lot.
You will learn a lot. And then the last one is the undercover boss. So how are you getting a good pulse on how you're externally branding your company? I say, how about you have someone pose in your interview cycle as a potential candidate, ask them to ask their experience in the cycle and whether they would or wouldn't work for your company. And, that is a really good strategy for repositioning yourself in the marketplace as an employer of choice. Thank you
I
so
love that
much,
suggestion.
Colt. Now, and I just can't, and just closing, I can't wait to get my hands on your upcoming book, The Race to Relevance. And I think, Colt, you have a flyer there to share more about that.
Pre-release available for everyone in this room. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks, Helena. Thank you, Colton. And again, as he mentioned, they will both be in the social later. And Colton, I'm sure you have some of your books. Thank you again for both of you being here. I appreciate it. Helena,